You are listening to He Said, She Said with L.A. Rob, and D the VIP. Oh yeah. And we're back. This is L.A. Rob and D the VIP. And you're listening to He Said, She Said podcast. And in this one, we're going to do a heavy spoiler review of Creed 2. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it. And come check us out because we're going to dive heavily, full throttle into spoilers for Creed 2.
Absolutely.
Starting now.
Yes.
Deanna?
Yes.
Creed 2. What'd you think?
Creed 2. I was underwhelmed. And I mean, from the trailers, I got very excited. I thought it was going to be as dynamic as Creed 1.
Uh-huh.
And I have to preface this by saying I am a huge boxing fan, as is Sylvester Stallone, which is how we got Rocky in the first place, which of course is Rocky. Creed is a spinoff of Rocky. So I love the choreography in Rocky fight scenes and things like that. I didn't love the way that the fight scenes were shot in the beginning of this film. I felt like the first fight was kind of a throwaway. It's like, okay, let's rush past this stuff so that we can get to the meat of the story. So I didn't feel like some parts of the story got the same attention as other parts of the story that were executed very well. Whereas in Creed 1, I felt like every minute of that movie was just had this loving touch and caress and attention paid to it, and that's why it was so successful. And I don't want to compare the two because we have two different directors. I know that's very different when you have a director who's actually written the script because they know what they see within their mind's eye versus a director who's getting a script that's already written and having to execute it. So I don't want to compare them too much, but I was a little. It was a good film, very good film.
Okay.
But if you've seen the first one and you see this one, just be prepared that you may be a little underwhelmed.
Okay.
What about you?
I will say that, I posted on Facebook my reaction to, I said that it feels like the Netflix version of a Rocky movie. Would have been great if it had an 8-episode season. Yeah. Because I say that because...
that's way harsh.
Well, no, not really. Because... Netflix, this whole Netflix era has spoiled us because in this we get to learn about characters now that were background characters who deserve to be fleshed out. And I just don't think a movie is just going to cut it these days, especially for a story that I think is as rich as Rocky. The whole drama lends itself to being explored. I would love to have just all about Drago and his son and everything about that, as opposed to having it, these things alluded to and shoehorned in, especially, spoiler, Brigitte Nielsen makes, it makes a cameo, and by cameo I mean exactly what it is, a cameo. She literally has one line, and
Hi, Victor.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then she's in the background.
Yeah.
And
she's window dressing.
She's literally window dressing.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to just get her, perspective as to everything, so there's that. There's the fact that, I don't know, like you brought up some really interesting things, like, I love how they set up Creed as being flashy, and I really like the whole through line.
Well, I like the progression of the character Creed and his love interest Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson. So now they've been in this relationship, they've been dating, and now it progresses. They take the natural next step in that. So that was believable, but I like what you said earlier, in that there was a missed opportunity to because she has hearing problems, and not just hearing problems, she's going deaf, and there's a missed opportunity
from a sound design standpoint.
I loved your idea of letting us hear what she hears.
Yes.
And what that sounds like, because she's fighting against the clock, because she is eventually going to be deaf, but she's a singer, and so she's trying to launch this career now before that happens. And
and might chime in that a lot of now that she's pregnant, that might be a little bit of a delay, don't you think?
Well, no, I mean, she didn't skip a beat, because she had she did like a showcase, and she signed with the label, and then they had a kid, but because of who he is, they're not gonna have any problems, financially. So that wouldn't be a hindrance. But I thought that if you're gonna have her have this kinds of situation in terms of a hearing issue, then let us experience that. And he, like when he proposed to her and he saw these beautiful things on his knee, and then she opens the door and sees that he's on his knee with a ring, and he's but she didn't hear anything he said. I thought there should have been some some kind of sadness. That you missed this is the once in a lifetime kind of situation, and you didn't hear it. And so I thought there should have been some sadness that came along with that, and then if just briefly. So it was little delicate things, like little nuances that were missed throughout the film. And like you said, I wanted to see more of Drago and the sons of Victor Drago and Ivan Drago, the son and the father and son.
Dude, I would love like the reason I say it would be great as a Netflix series, like what I liked about like shows like House of Cards is like they'll show a character who is normally relegated. You don't really see their story, but there's something there, and it can't just be expressed in just between Drago, his wife, him losing his country, his but he has a son, and that whole aspect. There's just a lot of story to that we can't get into it. And in a way, I'm kind of I don't know. I just it seemed like if you guys are gonna keep it, there's just there's a lot there that we just don't get into. And you brought up an interesting point on on the car ride back from the theater. You said like Creed, he should have had because he's the reigning world champ at this point. And so he should have had they put him in from a, I don't know if it was a budget thing, but he's fighting in Vegas, and his hotel is a standard hotel. I'm like, isn't this guy the champ? Shouldn't he have a penthouse or something?
Yeah, it's like.
He should be balling, right?
Yeah, well.
But he should be flashy. He should be.
Well, here's the thing. He is a child who was raised within, once he was out of foster care, he was raised with money. And so a child raised in an environment where money is a normal thing is not necessarily gonna get a bunch of money and buy jewelry and fast cars and stuff like that, because they're used to it. Because remember, he trained to be an investment banker or some kind of banker, so he's not gonna go out and just ball all the way out of control.
Right.
But yeah, I would. The hotel would have comped him a suite. They're fighting for the championship.
How much money? How much money is he bringing in? Wouldn't they want to?
Well, he's already wealthy from being the son, the Creed son. So, I mean, but yeah, it's like he would have got comped a suite, if nothing else. And then I thought another missed opportunity we were talking about was, so they go through this whole naming thing and make a couple of jokes about that. And he says, I'm going to name the child, I think, Amari. And I'm like, okay, that's a cute name. But when you have a strange name like Amari, tell me what that means. If there's a meaning behind it, what is your reason why you're naming your child Amari?
Right.
But I thought they missed the opportunity of cementing the bond between Rocky and between Adonis by having him name his daughter. If he's going to name her first name Amari, he should have named her Amari Adrian. So that he said to Rocky, like, I love you like my father loved you.
Yeah, because that would have been a great payoff. Because it was like right there.
It's like they have this distance, like we're close, but not really.
Yeah.
Because when she delivered the baby, Rocky was outside. Now, what they could have and should have done was have them say, "Come on." Like, come in the room, and then Rocky says, "No, I'll stay out here," kind of thing. And then it's like, okay, he's making a choice to stay out. But then if everybody walks in the room, and then they're like, "Okay, we'll see you later," and they leave him outside, is he really family?
Well, I think it's also not really clear. I think what they're trying to do is at the end of the movie, Rocky eventually goes and eventually shows up at his son. He's put off getting to see his reconciling with his son, and that I think was supposed to show that he's being pushed away. And
technical difficulties.
Yeah, the technical difficulties. That wasn't even me. That was that was something else. Something else. Yeah, sorry, I hate that. I'm such a perfectionist. But anyway, so the son, because he's being pushed. Rocky's being pushed out of it seems like the family, because Creed
out of the Creed family
is having they're having their family, and he's being pushed out, not by malice. That's just how life is. So and I don't know. I see where you're going. I just don't think the way it was handled was very clear, and I just have a problem. Like the way the fights are edited. You looked at the way it was edited in the last one. Even in Rocky 4, it's just a marvel of just how they edited the whole thing.
Well,
it was fantastic.
Key to Rocky.
It's so basic here.
Like Rocky, the movie was shot and edited like you would any other fight, and in fact, throughout the career of Sylvester Stallone playing that character Rocky, he's had everything from his nose to, I think, cheekbone or ribs and various bones broken, because he actually wants to get hit at certain points because he wants it to look real.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, in the fight where he fought Ivan Drago, I'm doing the air quotes so nobody can see, but when he fought Ivan Drago, which was played by Dolph Lundgren, he actually hit him so hard that he had a perforated aorta or something like that.
Yeah, he almost died.
Heart. It did something to a vessel within his heart, and he had to I believe have emergency surgery or something. Have not emergency surgery, but somehow they had to do something. So I think it was surgery, whatever. But I mean, so that's how physical that role is. And Michael B. Jordan, let's talk about him. He brought it.
He did.
He looked delicious. And I know L.A. Rob can't say that, but secretly I'm sure he wants to, as all men probably do.
No, I can speak for Elliot Rob. He won't say that. But
he won't say that. But
he
let
won't
me
say that.
speak for all women.
But the brother's in shape. I mean, he definitely eats his vegetables.
He's in shape. He's charming. That smile. You know, they have Lords of London where different crazy people might insure their legs, and depending on who you are, it might be your voice or whatever. He should insure that smile, because that is a sexy smile. So he was in top form. He brought it again. I just think that the script wasn't as rich this time as it was the first time. This time being Creed 2 versus Creed 1. Mm-hmm. But Tessa Thompson was definitely believable as the love interest. She brought her A game. You know, everybody acting wise did a great job. I mean, it was convincing. I believed it. I love seeing Felicia Rashad. I still think she's my aunt. Mm-hmm. As you know, well as probably everybody else who's ever seen her in various roles. So it was good to see her being the mother again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good film. It was not a great film.
And you know, as Rocky fans, I hate to say, but we deserve great. You know.
Well, we expected.
Yeah, because
we had Rocky, which was just a classic.
Yeah, because these are movies that they don't make these type of movies anymore. These are movies where it's about humans, it's about people, it's about heart, it's about people dealing with real life. Mm-hmm. It's and a constant theme that I'm starting to see in these new Creed movies is this obsession with death. You know, of growing old and dying. You know, in this one, you see birth, but there's this, well,
there is kind of a death, because he says, when Adonis wins, he says, Unc, which is what he calls Rocky, come into the spotlight with me. He doesn't say that, but, that's what his gesture of Unc and his facial expression is. And Rocky says, no, it's your time. And when you hear that and you look, it's almost like Sylvester Stallone saying, don't expect me to be in Creed 3.
Yeah.
This is the end of the road. So I'm gonna ride off into the sunset. So they had him go to his family. Now he's gonna play Grandpa Rocky.
Right.
So I think that this did well enough, or will do well enough, that they'll probably approve or greenlight a 3. I highly, highly, highly doubt, unless it's just another amazing script from Ryan Coogler, who directed 1, or somebody else. I highly doubt if we're gonna see Sylvester Stallone do a Creed 3.
Yeah, and they can do so many things. But again, this was a missed opportunity, because this may very well be the last time we see Sylvester Stallone play Rocky. I would have liked to see a scene where him and Drago have a conversation, or
it was like they wasted
Adonis
that.
And Victor have a conversation.
I wanted to see.
Or maybe even Victor and his mother reconcile.
I wanted to see Drago and Rocky have more of a conversation than they had. I understand that Drago kind of said everything was taken from me.
Yeah.
While your country celebrated you, my country shunned me. So I got that.
But we didn't see that.
Right. Well, he said it. He said it.
But film is about scene, and
but
it just would have been it would have been.
He said it, so I was kind of, I was okay with that. but I wanted more
Yeah.
because I wanted to see whether do you guys still have the animosity,
We just scratched the
are you
surface.
just because the last time you saw this guy, he almost killed you in the ring.
In fact, that entire Rocky movie with him getting brain damage. Rocky 5.
With who getting brain damage?
Well, Rocky 5, Rocky 4, he fights Drago in Rocky 4, but in Rocky 5, he gets brain damage and he goes bankrupt.
And they tell him he can't fight. So it's just, I wanted more of either they come to some kind of camaraderie, like we're kind of old fighters, and I understand. Because, so kind of, I'm stretching this hugely, so bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali were like arch enemies in the ring,
right?
And they and it was played up, and the Thriller in Manila and all of these kinds of things,
right?
And so when Ali decided that he was not going to join the armed forces and he had to forfeit his belt, Joe Frazier, he was losing money, and it was kind of like he was really, because he was 3 years without being able to fight, it really kind of got tough for him.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of people don't understand is that Joe Frazier wrote him a check for so many, I don't know if it's 10 or 20,000, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote him a check so that he can keep afloat, because in the check was something like, I know you have kids, I respect what you're doing, I know you have kids. So here was two people who were arch enemies to the world, but they had such a camaraderie and a respect for each other that he would do that for him.
Right.
So I wanted to see something like that, something that displayed that kind of heart and depth of character.
Yeah.
Now we kind of saw it at the end when his son was getting beat up and it was looking pretty bad, and he threw in the towel, and it was enough.
Yeah.
Which in effect meant he was throwing away his dreams of having a championship. But I want to see that kind of exchange between he and Rocky.
Yeah.
Like a grudging respect.
Yeah, because this is a man who, he beat you and your son, so there's got to be something. This person can't be all bad, you know what I'm saying? Or at least force a reevaluation of his inner circle and his, goals. But, I don't know. I just think that, it just irks me that this movie was so close to being great.
Yes.
It was just so close.
It's like a rough draft. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's when, in the movie industry, so many things could happen between the start of the movie
mm-hmm.
and the product that actually comes out,
mm-hmm.
and the difference between a great movie that things can get muddled in the middle for a lot of different reasons,
mm-hmm.
and it's just unfortunate, but. Like I say, it's fine. I just feel that, it had from watching the trailers for Creed, I was like, this was going to be, amazing. The trailers,
the marketing was
fantastic.
Excellent, because I really thought I was going to see
something special.
A Creed that stood up next to the first Creed.
And this one felt more like a TV show.
Well, what I said was
a good HBO type TV show.
What I said, and what I stand by, what I said was, this is like someone who has an original Van Gogh painting and the person who has a Jacquet of a Van Gogh painting, which is a canvas-like copy of a painting. They look beautiful, But until you get up close on an original Van Gogh and you see that he took one color, made a stripe, cleaned his brush, took another color, made a stripe, cleaned his brush, and did that however many hundreds of thousands of times to create this picture is absolutely amazing. Until you're up close on a real Van Gogh, there is no comparison with any kind of clay, and that's kind of what this movie was. The Creed 2 is a clay. It's good on its own until you pull up with the original, which is Creed 1, and then it's like, eh.
And I think this is just me, my own sensibilities, but I think this movie, from my interpretation, is maybe could be considered a statement again on millennials versus, you know, the old school people like myself. Like,
well, but Coogler is a millennial.
Yeah, I guess he is.
Yeah, he's a millennial. So
because Coogler is like, unlike the first Rocky, it just seems like the Creed has all these things at his disposal. He has, technology. He is able to sit there and watch his father's fight on YouTube and that sort of thing. He has a mentor, and I just think that, it just seems like the older films were just a little bit more gritty. I would say that this movie is one of the, I would put it up there with, I would say it's not as bad as Rocky V.
Hell no.
But it's not as good as Part 4, and it definitely is not as
No.
It's not as good as the first Creed.
No.
This is definitely a red box rental.
Well, see, that's what it is. This is skip the theater and just go to Redbox.
This is a Redbox night.
Or look at it on Amazon or Netflix or whatever else is going to be on. I mean, but I say go support because the creative part of me knows that, this director needs an opportunity to do something else. And let's see what he does with that. It's walking in the shoes of Ryan Coogler, who is somebody that is just talented beyond the norm. I think it's just difficult to begin with. So, I mean, yeah, go see it. It was good. It was entertaining. I hate to say it like this, but just rein in I'll say it like that, because I was going to say lower your expectations, but just rein in your expectations. That sounds like a better way to say it. Rein in your expectations a little bit, and it'll be enjoyable. Yeah. And the music is, I mean, hey, the
soundtrack was banging.
The soundtrack is A1.
Yeah.
I did miss the Rocky theme song. I know they use melodies from the Rocky theme song, but I miss hearing that song.
Well, I like in Creed the entrances are really good.
I didn't like this entrance as much.
It wasn't as.
The entrance to him to go into the ring was
that's what
excellent.
I'm talking, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the opening of the film. I'm sorry.
I'm talking about when he.
Yeah. The entrances
are really are spectacular.
They're the updated Creed entrance, because remember Creed walked in to.
Living in America
by James Brown.
Yeah.
And so he's walking into
Kendrick Lamar.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
And so it's the updated version. So
and that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
The music, what's his name? I think it's Johan Ludwig, I think, or something like that. Johansson Ludwig, something like that, who serves as Coogler's musical director for all of his films. He's really good.
Yeah. So I will say that, like I said, I just think you know, it's as good as it could be. We'll see where.
Well, I think it could have been better.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna say it's as good as it could be. It could have. It's good. It could have been great.
yeah, I mean,
But somebody took their hand off the wheel
and
or eyes off the prize for just a second. And that's all it takes.
It definitely shows like how directors matter.
Absolutely.
You know, when somebody else is, you know, and I hate to say it, you could see the talent level of, you know, Coogler versus, you know, Stephen
Capel, yeah.
You know, I'm sure I'm sure the brother's talented. I just think, you know, it's not the movie that I was expecting.
Well, I mean, I think that again, Ryan Coogler is on the same level as Steven Spielberg in terms of when you look at Steven Spielberg as a young director and the things that he was doing. There's a natural innate talent that is God-given, I believe. You know, believe whatever you believe. And some people have that. And some people just work hard and get an opportunity and they do well. Yeah. Like,
it's just good. It's
the
good
guy
enough.
who did The Terminator is, what's his name?
James Cameron.
James Cameron, I think, was a hard worker who worked hard, who got an opportunity, and who seized and took advantage of that opportunity. I don't know that he's extra talented when it comes to directing. However, Spielberg is talented, and I think for a director, it's like the nuances, being able, like with Creed 1, having him help her take down the braids out of her hair, and she's from Philly. Like little small things, details like that makes all the difference in the world, because it's like, that actually is something that really does happen. So I think a Coogler directed film would have caught what you said, which is let me hear her hearing loss, so that I feel what she feels, and I'm in that moment with her.
And bring a sound production sort of thing
subtle.
to it, to bring her into the world in a way like that.
Subtle things like that.
Yeah. So, you know, so for a series that prides itself on being the reinvention, I would have liked to see more reinvention. You know? Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think, again, this director, no disrespect to him, I think he's a good, solid director. I mean, no, it's just, it's not a hack movie at all. No, it's just you know, it's just. Well, it's just a Ryan Coogler is a once in a lifetime director. Yeah. Just like a Steven Spielberg and others who are in that exclusive university. Yes. And this director is a good director. I'm sure he's going to have a great career, and we're going to see him do many things. Yep. So, you know, we would love to hear your feedback. You know, email us. Where do you give the film on a scale? Oh, real quick. I would probably give it A, B, C, D, E, F. That's not an F. It's not a D. It's not a C. I give it a B minus. B minus? Yeah. I give it actually a B plus. Okay. Because I think all the elements of greatness were around, and some of it probably hit the cutting room floor. I think they had all the elements. I think that just they weren't put together as well as they could have been to make it an A. Yes. So it was a B plus because it was entertaining. But yeah, it just didn't live up to the hype of the trailers. Yes. So stay tuned, because I'm sure at some point in the future we'll be reviewing Aquaman. Yeah, looking forward to that. It's got to be said. That's a big movie that's going to be coming out. Yes, and, Jason Momoa. Let's see what happens. Yes, because the buzz sounds really good. So we're looking forward to talking about Aquaman. Absolutely. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the guy who plays Victor Drago is fine. So ladies, you want to go see it for that, if nothing else. Sorry. Just had to get that in. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I know you had to. You couldn't help yourself. Couldn't help myself. So look, to follow us, you can go to iTunes, tune in. You can like us on Facebook at He Said, She Said, LA Rob, and Be the VIP. There's a lot of He Said, She Said out there, so make sure it says LA Rob and Be the VIP. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at LA Rob and Be the VIP. And if you want to follow LA Rob's shit, his stuff, you can go to Mel Hondo, MALEHONDO at YouTube. Did I say everything?
You did?
See?
Well, no, wait, you missed one.
What?
Lord Tyree, LORDTYRE. That one is one of my older.
And I'm not calling him Lord anything, so that's probably why I messed up.
At least not on mic.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Or off mic either.